Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we're going to fundamentally shift how you think about the concept of discipline. We're going to do this by unpacking a really brilliant 2,300-year-old framework that completely changes how we view hard work, literally transforming it from a daily miserable grind into something you actually crave. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at why discipline feels like punishment, Aristotle's great unasked question, the core concept of eudaimonia, the one-question method, and finally, how to apply eudaimonia daily. Part 1, Why Discipline Feels Like Punishment, the Modern Problem. So let's start by validating a struggle I am absolutely certain you know all too well, the frequent and frankly frustrating failure of our modern productivity systems. Think about it. You've probably got every motivational video saved on your phone, every high-tech productivity app downloaded, and maybe even a buddy keeping you accountable. Yet, despite having all these tools, why does choosing the hard thing over the comfortable thing still feel so miserable? Why does discipline so often feel like a punishment? There's just this stark contrast between what discipline actually involves and what it feels like on the inside. For most of us, discipline is viewed as this series of tasks where something is constantly being extracted from you. You wake up early, and it feels like your sleep is being stolen. You do the hard work, and it literally feels like your comfort and ease are being stripped away. And here's the thing, when you only focus on the cost of that hard work, the tiredness, the sweat, the lost free time, your brain just naturally interprets the whole experience as a punishment. You're experiencing all of the cost without feeling even an ounce of the return. Section 2, Aristotle's great unasked question, the ancient mentor. To solve this thoroughly modern problem, we actually need to travel back in time to an intellectual powerhouse who figured out how to fix this exact mental friction. So think about Aristotle. Born in 384 BC in Stagira, he grew up in a house where his dad was the physician to the king of Macedonia, so medicine and intense intellectual debate were just the norm. By age 17, he heads to Athens to study under Plato, and he stayed for 20 years, not as a quiet student in the back, but as the most challenging mind in the room. And by 40, he's chosen to tutor a 13-year-old kid named Alexander, who, eventually conquered half the known world. That is a truly staggering resume. But what people rarely talk about is the one question Aristotle spent his entire life trying to crack. He actually bypassed those massive abstract questions about what the universe is made of to focus his life on this single, deeply human behavioral mystery. Why do some people genuinely enjoy doing the hard thing, waking up early and choosing difficulty, while everyone else just suffers through it or entirely quits? Moving to Section 3, eudaimonia, the core concept, connecting action to identity. Let's dig into his breakthrough realization to see how this completely reframes our understanding of human motivation. Aristotle hit the nail right on the head here. He realized that discipline feels painful for one very specific reason. You have completely disconnected the action from the person it's building. So the pain you're feeling, it isn't actually from the work itself. It's coming directly from that disconnect between your daily grind and your ultimate self-growth. He called the solution eudaimonia, which essentially means the experience of becoming who you actually want to be. And Aristotle's original intent here was incredibly profound. He wanted to prove that the second you connect a difficult, tedious action directly to the personal growth it facilitates, the whole nature of that action transforms. It totally stops feeling like a painful cost and starts feeling like highly enjoyable progress. Applied to your daily productivity, knocking out a hard task isn't just a chore anymore. It gives you an immediate neurological hit of becoming a better version of yourself. Section 4, the one-question method, shifting your mindset. Okay, so we've got the ancient theory down, but how do we actually trigger this mental shift today? Well, before you tackle a hard task, you've got to stop asking yourself if you want to do it. Spoiler alert, you usually don't. Instead, you run through these 3 steps. Step 1, pause before the hard action. Step 2, ask yourself, who does this make me? And step 3, choose progress over comfort. This simple little loop literally tricks your brain into enjoying discipline because you shift your focus entirely from the immediate cost to the ultimate reward. Let's look at a super common example. Say you're thinking about skipping the gym. Applying this method forces you to confront a pretty harsh reality. Skipping the gym makes you, someone who skips. It makes you someone who chooses comfort over the person you said you wanted to become. And when you really sit with that, you realize that the feeling of moving away from who you want to be is actually way more uncomfortable than any physical strain a workout could ever cause. Part 5, applying eudaimonia daily, real-world application. Let's ground this whole ancient philosophy in a really relatable modern scenario to see how it plays out in practice. Think about what we can call the warehouse worker's dilemma. Imagine you're 17, you come home absolutely drained and physically exhausted from a manual warehouse job, but you have this side business you really want to get off the ground. You sit there trying to force yourself to open your laptop through sheer willpower, and you fail. You might just spend the rest of the night playing video games because all you can feel is how tired you are and the comfort you're missing out on. But look at the difference in mindset here. Without Aristotle's method, you're only feeling the cost, the tiredness, and the lost comfort. But if you deploy the method right before opening that laptop, you ask yourself, who does working on this business make me? Well, it makes you someone who's building something real, someone who shows up even when it's incredibly hard. Sure, the cost of being tired doesn't just magically disappear, but suddenly it feels so much smaller compared to the massive return of building your future self. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly captures what we're aiming for in this explainer today. I wasn't forcing discipline anymore. I was choosing the person I wanted to become over the comfort of staying the same. That right there, that is the absolute core of eudaimonia. It is about totally abandoning that punishing, draining willpower and shifting straight into empowering choice. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take into your day. Who are your daily choices making you? Because ultimately, whether you realize it or not, your daily actions are literally building your future self right this very second. When you face your next hard task, are you just going to suffer the cost of discipline, or will you connect it to your identity and choose the progress of eudaimonia? The choice is entirely yours.